Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another podcast here on Spreaker. Welcome. How are you guys doing today? Gosh, I really love doing these shows. Absolutely crazy episode for you guys today because today's focus is going to be on Motorola. Motorola, right? A long-time brand that's been around for a good amount of time. I mean, when you think about way back in the day when the IDEN network was around and Boost Mobile and Nextel was popular, Motorola made a lot of devices for Nextel and Boost Mobile for the IDEN network. And they were ruggedly built and they were awesome looking. They were cool. Sure, they were bulky, but, you know, the design was there. The design was pretty good. And fast forward into the smartphone market, Motorola began to decline, which is one of the reasons why Google acquired them, because it was in everyone's mind that Google was going to be able to save Motorola from all the trouble it was going through. And it would have been cool if Google kept Motorola. Could you guys imagine if the Google Pixel was built by Motorola and not HTC? That would be kind of crazy though, right? It would. However, we kind of think about things. Never panned out that way. So Motorola was then sold off to Lenovo, a Chinese company, which I make reference as a Chinese company because Chinese companies have been doing very, very, very well. When you think about Huawei and where it's gone, when you think about ZTE, you know, those are some companies that have made some good strides in the last couple of years and has made some very good movements. Now, you look at Motorola under Lenovo and you look at the G5 Plus. This is one device that I say has been making some huge strides in the last month. YouTubers like Tony Pazzo, Mr. J. Williams, there are many others who have picked up the Moto G5 Plus and have had some good things to say about it. Now, when you think about the history of the G series by Motorola, it's been Motorola's mid-ranger, the X series being a flagship. That's what we always knew this to be, but now the Moto G5 Plus, wow, there's a lot of traffic, so my apologies. I'm outside doing this. But anyways, the Moto G5 Plus, when you feel it, it feels really good in the hands. And by the way that it is built and by the way that it's being marketed, I kind of look at the Moto G5 Plus in the same limelight that you would look at an LG V20. Now, don't twist my words and say that I'm calling the Moto G5 Plus a flagship device. I am not calling it that. But the way that it's been marketed, built, designed, how it runs, it is, in a way, kind of like an LG V20. See, with LG, the G series is its flagship. The V series has been its secondary flagship. And with all the other devices like the Moto E, the Moto C, I like to think that the Moto G is now becoming a secondary flagship for Motorola Lenovo. I mean, if you don't believe me, head over to your local Best Buy. Go play around with one. You'll be amazed. You'll be amazed at not only just how the device feels in hand, but how it performs and functions with just very light tasks. Now just imagine if you went ahead and just ran it with some heavy usage, what you would get out of it. Motorola has, in a way, what I consider has redeemed itself from some past mistakes, like, in my opinion, Moto Blur. If you guys remember Moto Blur, you guys know what I'm talking about. But in all seriousness, I have to give recognition to Motorola for the things that it has done. And not just because of the Moto G5 Plus. The Moto G5 Plus is one major jump in Motorola strides. But even the G4 was a pretty good device for a mid-ranger. The Moto G3, which was one that I played around with that came to Virgin Mobile, was actually a pretty sweet phone for what it was. So, has Motorola made some really big strides in the last 4 years? I'd like to think so. Now, I'd also like to think what would have been what the possibilities were if Google never let go of Motorola. What would we have seen right now? What would they have called the Moto G5 Plus? Would it still have been called the G5? What if it became the Pixel? Or one of the Pixel series? Because people tend to forget the Pixel and Pixel XL were not the first Pixel devices. The Pixel C was the first Pixel device. Then came the Pixel and the Pixel XL. So technically, the Pixel C, which is a 2-in-1, so it's a tablet. You can attach it magnetically to its keyboard base, and it becomes a Chromebook in a way. But just imagine if Motorola never left Google. Exactly what would we have had right now? Past and present. What would we have seen? Would Google have gone even more on a stance of a toe-to-toe against, say, Apple? Because we all know that Apple builds its own hardware and its software and is controlled by them. No open source, therefore, they pretty much hold the reins. I mean, if you kind of look at what Google's going through right now, you'll kind of understand exactly what's happening. Like, for one, Google and Samsung don't have a very good relationship right now. And, it could be a possibility that in the next 2 or 3 years we could see the potential rise of Tizen, Samsung's own version, own operating system. And yes, the earlier versions of Tizen was very similar to Android. But who knows what Samsung will spin on Tizen right now? We'll never know until we see it. Their smartwatches run Tizen. So, with all these things happening with Samsung, the Galaxy S8, Bixby, Samsung DeX, Tizen, Gear watches, it almost feels like we're on the cusp of Samsung having a full ecosystem that is completely pushed out there. Do I think Google made a huge mistake getting rid of Motorola to Lenovo? You damn right I do. I mean, the possibilities of what Google and Motorola could have done together in a business relationship could have been very, very good. Very good for business indeed. But again, this is wishful thinking, and this is only speculation and opinion, not facts. So, it could have went the other way. It could have been very bad. It could have damaged Google's reputation rather than help Google stand toe-to-toe with tech giants like Apple and Microsoft. I always feel like that Google's main weakness is the fact that they don't in-house produce their own hardware. I mean, think about it. They can still have Android open source, and other manufacturers can still build hardware that would house Android. But you would also have a personal Google-built hardware for Android provided by Google. And that is something that some people want, which is the reason why the Pixel exists. It's because there are people out there who will look at it, not because it's water resistant or dust resistant, because the Pixel doesn't have those features, but the fact that it is a straight Google phone. Even those that would argue and say that it's built by HTC and whatever, you will never stop an Android enthusiast from just really recognizing the Pixel as a straight Google phone. A stand-up toe-to-toe with Apple. So anyhow, that's just pretty much it. My little rant for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys did, you guys can follow me on Spreaker for more podcasts that I'll be doing from time to time, just to have a little bit of fun. Also, if you're on YouTube, this is your first time checking out my channel, you can also look at some actual videos on my YouTube channel. And by doing so, you can subscribe to my channel as well for future videos and click the bell option so you guys know when I upload a video. but I also like to do these audio podcasts as well. So thanks for listening. And again, my name is Tito, and I'm out.